What's going on, guys? Today I got a very special album review for you. I mean, not really, to be honest. This is a pretty... Alright, well, I mean, we'll get to it. But today, I'm going to be reviewing A Love Letter to You 5 by Trippie Redd. Now, just to preface, Trippie Redd in 2018 was my favorite rapper, undoubtedly. Trippie Redd in that 2017 to 2019 era, the first three of Love Letters to You, Life's a Trip, even all the way up to the Love Letter to You 4 to a degree. One of my favorite artists, if not my favorite. I was really loving what he was doing. And I mean, obviously in 2023, going back and listening to some of his old projects, it was clearly partially just the time, partially me not having such a developed music taste, maybe a new to the game, and Trippie being on the come up, maybe a little younger. But yeah, I mean, a lot of that stuff doesn't hold up as well. And Trippie has been really in a rut since A Love Letter to You 3. He hasn't dropped a good album since A Love Letter to You 3. And I mean, especially recently, it's gotten even worse with albums like Pegasus and Mansion Music, which honestly just blow. They're just bad albums with almost zero redeemable songs on both. I mean, Excitement with Party Next Door is good on Pegasus, but both of these albums are really just absolutely colossal misses. So yeah, a lot of Trippie Redd fans, a lot of people like myself who used to be fans have been waiting and been hoping for the comeback, because like I said, I'm not a Trippie Redd fan anymore. I'm not checking for new Trippie. I don't listen to Trippie, but I still want to see the man succeed. I still want to see him bounce back, and to a degree, he did that here. A Love Letter to You 5 is one of his better, if not his best albums to drop in the last 3 years, though it is still not not on par with A Love Letter to You or A Love Letter to You 3, even A Life's a Trip. But let's talk about it, guys. Take Me Away is a pretty simple and predictable intro from Trippie Redd. It's got that very A Love Letter to You 4 type vibe. The songs like, I don't know, Make You Love Me or Love You, but I don't remember the names of the songs, to even be honest. I know they have love in them, but it's the very string heavy love ballad type instrumental, where the instrumental is not great. It's mainly Trippie Redd just singing about love, being in love, all this stuff he doesn't get too complex with generally. At times he does here, but yeah, I mean, this is pretty substandard for what this album has to offer. The bass line for A Love Letter to You 5 is pretty average, either in love or heartbreak music, with decent Trippie Redd performances, but nothing that's crazy. Now, there are instances here. There are a handful of great tracks on the highlight, but for the most part, for 10 to 12 songs of this album, this is really what is here. And I personally don't love it, so it's not my favorite. Plus, I feel like we do get better tracks like that on A Love Letter to You 4. But again, Trippie is doing that a lot here. A lot less rap-heavy album. Although, again, there's a handful of verses and features from rappers, but Trippie's really doing singing here. And yeah, I mean, on the outro to Take Me Away, we do get Corbin singing a very forgettable and unmemorable outro to the song. I mean, it's there. Last Days is a more plot-heavy track in a very similar vein from Trippie, where we see him rapping and singing about seeing and fucking this girl for the last time. We've seen plenty of artists tackle something like this. Personally, one of my favorites is Last Time by A Boogie and G Herbo. Same concept, but A Boogie makes it hit. Here, again, it's fine. This is not a bad track, not an offensive, not offensive, I should say. Not even mid, to be honest. It's a good song. It's just very predictable. And I will say Trippie Redd's repeated shouting at the end of the song just gets annoying. Trippie Redd's vocal range is very interesting. He has actually a lot of range, but he doesn't ever use it particularly well. He either way overextends himself on some notes or is far more subdued than he should be. But again, moments on this album we'll talk about soon where he does it well. Moving on to Thinking About You, this was one of the more popular tracks. This is where we see some of Trippie Redd's best and most passionate rapping performances, to be honest. His delivery is on point. You could tell he is rapping like he means it. Trippie Redd's Thinking About You inflections he hits throughout the song, again, kind of annoying. They're a little bit too much. And again, not a terrible track, but this is where we do get a pretty infamous internet bar right now of "Baby, I'm a lion, you a tiger, we should make some ligers." I mean, that's just a pretty crap, trash, not good bar. There's a handful of these throughout here. It's Trippie Redd. You don't come to expect much in terms of lyricism, And there are a few examples of like egregiously bad lyrics, like right here. The production on this album is similar, and it gets stale pretty quickly, to be honest, because again, a lot of similar, not just similar beats, but very similar type beats, where it's a lot of similar drum patterns, switching between like a melodramatic guitar or piano keys, and similar performances from Trippie, where again, it's rarely ever like trash here. This album has like 2 or 3 trash songs, but that's not bad for like a 19-song album. Next song I wanted to bring in is A Feeling, which is genuinely one of Trippie Redd's best songs. Here we get like a love ballad from Trippie and his girlfriend Sky Morales. Both of them do an honestly excellent job singing. This is one of Trippie's best singing performances ever, just in terms of his vocal delivery. He's a little bit more delicate, a little less raspy and rough, and it works perfectly with this more soulful and like tranquil, very like calm and relaxed instrumental. And you know, I do gotta say, this is one of the few like truly great love songs on an album that is filled with love songs, you know? It's a lot of that content matter, which is fine, but there are like 2 to 3 songs in that vein that I might ever revisit that it's really grasp me as being great Trippie Redd songs. But A Feeling is one of them. I'm Mad at Me is where we see a great rapping link up from Trippie Redd and Lil Wayne. I think they have one other song together. I'm not positive, but I feel like they do. I know Trippie Redd has a song called Lil Wayne on exclamation mark, but I think they might have a song together. If not, this is their first collab. And honestly, it's a different... It was interesting to see. You could tell, Lil Wayne really got Trippie in his rapping bag. We were getting one of Trippie's best rapping performances on the album. Super passionate delivery. Pretty, I don't know if aggressive is the right word, but Trippie Redd is a very commanding, track presence here. He wants you to know what's good. The instrumental is this very like early 2010s, like super like horn-led triumphant type instrumental. Not necessarily like a Jay-Z type beat, but you know what I'm talking about. The early 2010s, Jay-Z, J. Cole, Kanye, Lupe, everyone who was big from like who was big in like 2009 to 2012, this very bombastic, triumphant, almost anthemic instrumental I'm talking about. That's the type of instrumental this is here, where you're also getting some intoxicating samples and some super boastful drums that again just boost the personality of this track, where again, super animated Trippie verse here. You're getting great rapping from him. Sing from Wheezy. Nothing super standout in terms of like content or like flows or them trading bars. It's just 2 great rapping verses on a great song. And yeah, I mean, at this point in the album, it is pretty clear that this is a little bit of an upgrade on A Love Letter to You 4. It's shorter, first of all, and it exchanges a lot of its like shitty like pop trap hit song attempts. Like, I don't know if you remember all the random features Trippie had on that album, like Lil Mosey. And there were, again, some bangers on there, but I feel like there were a lot of songs that were just attempting to be trap hits. And then also, you had your love songs on there. I feel like this exchanges a lot of the plasticky, cheap songs for more genuine love songs. But again, like I said, this is saturated with love songs. But the risk Trippie takes on the other tracks here pay off way bigger than the ones he took on A Love Letter to You 4. And Closed Doors is not an example of that. This track is, again, not terrible, but it is not good. This is Trippie Redd's collab with Roddy Ricch, and he does his best, most shameless Roddy Ricch impersonation on the track with him, literally to the point where the first time I listened to the song, I didn't notice when Trippie Redd's part ended and Roddy Ricch's began. I couldn't tell because of how similar he sounded. Trippie isn't doing this a disservice. He doesn't sound bad knocking Roddy Ricch. It's just like weird to listen to like a continuous like Roddy Ricch sounding song. Roddy Ricch's part isn't great either. I mean, yeah, this is just a pretty mid song. Trippie and Roddy, even if they were in even if Trippie wasn't being creatively bankrupt here and tried to do something more creative, I still don't think it would have been a good song. This is just not the best duo. 2 rappers who struggle with similar issues and are in weird places in their careers. You get to talk about the best song on the album, though, Take My Breath Away. Another collab with Trippie Redd's girlfriend, Sky Morales, who, honestly, both great singing performances that she gave us, I really enjoyed her contributions to the album, and I think she helped make it better, especially with her super soft, delicate chorus here that blends perfectly into this soulful, spunky, almost like I feel like there's a minor bit of synth, like 80s synth pop influence in terms of just like the vibe and the bounciness and dynamicness of the entire instrumental and the way Trippie's flowing on it. And in terms of Trippie Redd on this song, he is giving us some of his best and most genuine and heartfelt rapping performances in a while. Again, I don't want to use the rapping like the rent is due cliche, because obviously Trippie Redd, he doesn't have to worry about paying the rent. He's rich as fuck. But I would say he is rapping like he wants the respect of his fans again. And you see that again at multiple points on this album, and it makes me happy, because a track like Can You Rap Like Me from 2018, A Love Letter to You, or maybe that was 2017, I don't know, but that has been one of Trippie Redd's best songs for a while because of just how good his rapping ability actually is. And when he does rap like that, he's very animated, he has clever bars, and he has a, different type of flow. It's not like he's mimicking anyone else. He has his own very unique cadences that he uses, and it goes over well typically. So I'm glad to see this man back in this form. This is the most replayable song. This is again, I said best song. This is my favorite song on the album. This is definitely one of Trippie Redd's best songs ever. I know I said that about A Feeling, but this as well is really up there in terms of Trippie Redd's song discography. Flowers with Bryson Tiller is another Trippie Redd imitating the feature artist type cut. And I don't like Bryson Tiller as is. I feel like he is so generic and substandard in terms of like the R&B / trap and B scene. I feel like he does nothing innovative. He just has a nice voice, and sometimes he sings really nicely. And here, he does nothing for me. And Trippie Redd doing a Bryson Tiller impression just sounds bad. So this is Flowers, skip. But moving on to the last two tracks, The Hate and Trip McKnight, we are greeted to an excellent closing to this album. Two of the best songs on the album, two completely different vibes. And again, there are a good 4 or 5 songs here that I might take with me. These are 2 of them. There's also A Feeling and Took My Breath Away, which are, again, these are some all-time Trippie songs, some of the best music he's put out in a while type shit. But starting with The Hate, here again we see Trippie trying to regain the respect of his fans almost. It sounds like we're getting him over a soulful boom bap type beat. That also features some just beautiful pitched up vocals woven into the background of the beat. And again, this is probably one of the best instrumentals on the album, with one of Trippie's best rapping performances. And we also get some content from Trippie, some introspection. We see him questioning the hate from his fans, looking inward, maybe asking if it's something he did, if it's an issue with his fans and their expectations. And he's saying, like, fuck this, fuck the hate, like, here's why you guys should respect me, here's why you guys should love me. And it's cool to see a content-focused Trippie track like this, some narrative, and him addressing the fact that, he's fallen off. You don't see a lot of rappers do that, and it's cool to see Trippie taking that stand. But then we get the outro, Trip McKnight, which is obviously a rage track, and this is the best one Trippie's ever done. It far surpasses anything on Trip at Night. That album is, again, not a major bright spot on Trippie's catalog. Just a good booming rage instrumental, and Trippie is shouting over the mic, just giving you great energy, and that's all you need from a rage track for it to be good. You need the right beat and the right energy, and Trippie does that here for a hype yourself up, confidence boosting, speeding down the highway type banger. Overall, this album is really a pretty I don't know if mixed bag is the right word, but it's an album that follows, for the most part, a pretty similar formula where we get these piano and guitar-led slower instrumentals where Trippie is singing fine. He has some bad performances, some really great ones, but some not great ones. And we get some so-so average rapping performances, some bad features, but where Trippie really shines through on this album is when he's stepping out of his comfort zone, when he's not doing the thing that's expected of him on a track like The Hate, on a track like I'm Mad at Me, on a track like Took My Breath Away, where Trippie's stepping out of his comfort zone a little bit, or going back to other places where he's, had a few tracks but never really dove into it too much, like the boom bap type, Can You Rap Like Me type shit on The Hate. And these moments of experimentation, to a degree, are where Trippie is really shining. But for the rest of this album, we're getting this cookie cutter type, very simple, very predictable, where again, it's very rarely terrible, right? Like, it's bad at points, but for the most part, it's just bland and boring, and like, I've heard this before. Despite all that, though, this is a big step up for Trippy. This album feels like there was some direction and intention behind it versus something like Mansion Music, which was just, let me just make a rage song with every popular rapper out right now and see what sticks. Or Pegasus, which was just a brutal, failed attempt at, I don't know. I don't know if I want to know. But here we get a Trippy Red album that I'm happy to call mid, guys. A Love Letter to You 5. I'm feeling a 5.9 out of 10 on it. There's a lot of highlights here, and overall, it could have been a lot worse coming from Trippie Redd. But yeah, be sure to let me know what you guys think about this video, what you think about Trippie Redd's career state, because there was no hits here. Is he done? Is he like officially off? Or is he just getting primed to make a solid comeback to a degree? Appreciate you guys tuning in. Like, subscribe, comment, notifications, all that shit. And I will see you in the next one, guys. Peace.